One of my favorite phrases that I might have shared with you guys before is don't let perfection be the enemy of greatness. And I think it's pretty self explanatory, but basically it means not allowing yourself to be paralyzed by your pursuit of perfection to the point where you disallow yourself any progress or doing anything positive at all. Recently, a friend of mine that I was speaking to, I was kind of like laying out my ambitions for him, telling him about how I wanted like this amount of money, this aesthetic, this kind of lifestyle, this appearance, this and that. He paused for a minute and he just said to me, "You're hard on yourself, aren't you?" And you know what? I think I am. And I'm not really worried about that. I'm not of the mindset that I shouldn't be hard on myself. I think you should be kind of hard on yourself, especially if you're a young fighting age man, you have excess energy, and you're kind of in the prime of your life, which I am. If you believe that you are somebody that is capable of greatness, I think you should hold yourself to that high standard. But I did dwell on what this person said a bit. I was thinking I must be acting in a certain way that has conveyed to others who, in this case, I don't even really know him that well, but I must have done something to kind of convey to him that I am a little bit hard on myself. And I do think at a point it can become a bit of a detriment. It's almost like a sort of OCD type of disease. And I use that word literally, a dis-ease, because really that is what it is. It's a lack of ease. And that sort of lack of ease is leading to a lack of performance, I think. And I'd like to elaborate on that. It's like a kind of tension or like a tightening, right? And like I said, to a degree, I think this is a positive thing. I think it's good to hold yourself to a high standard. You don't want to be just like these lost souls that just seem like they've almost never even became fully conscious, who are just kind of floating down the lazy river of life. I think it is good to hold yourself to that high standard, but at a certain point, it can paralyze you from making moves, and it can kind of occupy too much of your mental real estate to where it becomes detrimental to your success. I think about this a lot when I say something perhaps, I wish I didn't say, or something that I wish I didn't do, right? Because when that happens, it's like a direct assault on my self-image, right? Like my self-construction that I've put together in my mind. We all want to believe that we are like this super cool guy, like a James Bond or something, right? This person, we all want to believe we're this person who says, like, who has this suaveness about him and always says the right thing and acts the right way. And what happens is when we create this self-image of ourselves, as positive as it might be, what happens is that whenever something kind of goes awry or misaligns with that image, or we do something like embarrassing, or someone else gets the better of us, it's almost like a rock is thrown through the construction of our ego and everything comes tumbling and crashing down. So I say to you guys, you should stop identifying with yourself as this perfect person who like never can do anything wrong or should never do anything wrong, because undoubtedly it's going to happen. You're going to say something wrong. You're going to encounter an awkward situation. You're going to suffer some sort of defeat. And you need to not be so rigid in your self-image at this point that when that blow comes, it completely shatters you. And you end up spending days and days picking yourself up off the floor and putting yourself together. It's like Bruce Lee said, right? You want to be like water. You don't want to be like ice, so that when you encounter turbulence, you shatter. Because the bottom line is, are you doing the things that you said you would do? Are you delivering? Delivering to others, like delivering to yourself? Are you checking the box each day of the thing that is really important? Because feeling like you're some sort of like ultra stoic alpha male kind of guy, it's not really what's important, right? Like entertaining the self-image you have of yourself in your head as some sort of Peaky Blinders stoic guy, it's not really that important in the long run. Getting like the last word on an online argument, it's not really that important. What's important is delivering on the things that matter. You're only going to become great at whatever it is you are pursuing by showing up each day and delivering. And I do believe that having an ego, it can help with that to a degree, but it's when the ego becomes so big that it's when it kind of pops or something injures it, then you become debilitated. You get taken out of the game, and that's when there's a problem. So what I recommend, guys, is just show up and deliver. Have a big enough ego, right, to know that you have what it takes for greatness, but not so big that it gets in the way of your own greatness. Have the ego that's so big you show up each day to do the things that matter, to work on your craft, but not so big that when someone else comes along that is maybe better or gets the upper hand on you or humbles you, that you then just tuck your tail between your legs, you run away forever, because it's like you were so tied up in being this sort of unbeatable, unmesswithable person, right? Do you see what I'm saying? I have to imagine I'm not the only one who's gone through this, right? Sometimes I'll just be out and about in real life and I'll have an exchange with someone, or just some awkward situation will happen, and it like leaves me feeling a strange sort of way, and I'll get this thought like, man, am I cut out for making videos like this? Am I cut out for like imagining myself as this type of person? Am I really the type of person that I think I am? And like, talking to people online, trying to share my thoughts, impart some information to them, because it's like, I just had this encounter with this person, and it made me feel like an idiot. So it's like, maybe I should stop, right? And that's kind of like what I'm talking about, man. It's like, do you have that in your craft? Like maybe you're trying to like box or something, and you think you're really great, or you identify yourself as like a really good boxer, right? Something like that. And then you show up one day, someone comes along, and they make a fool out of you. They got you swinging, they got you missing, they got you looking like it's your first day, like you're like a complete amateur. This is the sort of thing I'm getting at. Your self-image can get shattered, and then you're like, man, maybe really all I really should be doing is just working like a low-end job somewhere where I don't attract any attention. I can just lay low and just stay out of the limelight and just not worry about it, man. Maybe that would be what's best for me. And you forget that the most important thing is just delivering. And for me, in this case, it's delivering content, right? If you're some kind of like blue collar entrepreneur, it's just kind of be like delivering with your business, right? Because I'm going to guess you guys listening to this don't really care too much at all about like what's going on in my private life. I bet you don't really care too much that it's like maybe in my private life for 5 minutes I had a weird moment where I didn't feel like the coolest guy on earth, right? What matters to you guys and what would ultimately be the most beneficial for me is simply if I am delivering the content, if I am coming out with a YouTube video for you guys to listen to on a regular basis with your earbuds in while you're at work. That is the bottom line. And this is the concept I'm going to be speaking about more in the future, and this is something I kind of want to talk about a little bit right now, but it's like this sort of bottom line thinking is really important. So many people, they get caught up in the hot air thinking that like everybody out there is analyzing their life with the same focal intensity that they are analyzing their own lives with, and it's like I just guarantee no one cares as much as you. I guarantee nobody cares that your girlfriend made you feel emasculated the other day or whatever happened to you. As long as you show up to work and do what you need to do and make yourself useful and deliver, I guarantee no one cares. But what happens is we pursue this sort of insanely rigid perfection, and it doesn't actually help us become a more capable person. It actually hurts our performance in the long run, because we start getting lost in the weeds of all this little nonsense, little things that don't really matter. And that keeps us from delivering on the bottom line goals. And if we could just simply shut our brains off and make a bottom line plan that makes sense and stick to it and almost just follow it like a robot and deliver day after day after day, I think that would really get 90% of us or to a better place in life, right? We're all like at war with ourselves so often in our own heads, spending who knows how much mental energy striving for this like unobtainable perfection. And ultimately it just oftentimes leads us to not even showing up, which is the worst thing, right? This is like the worst thing you could do that would get you further away from your goal than anything else. Then you got people going like, hey, where is that guy? Like, I thought he was supposed to show up and do X today. Like, I thought I was going to pay him for that. Where is he? Meanwhile, you're off somewhere raging against yourself, fighting these imaginary battles in your head, when all you needed to do was just cut that stuff out of your mind and show up and check the box. That's all you got to do, guys. Show up and check the box. If you want to get great at whatever activity it is that you are working on, you just show up and you practice or you produce and you work on that activity. And that's like the bottom line. But if you allow what Jane said from work, Jessica from work, whatever she said, to like throw you off mentally to the point where you don't show up and you don't do X, you don't show up and check that box and do the bottom line thing that you really need to do, that right there is the moment that you have truly failed. Not the mental construction of your failure, but that construction allowed you to not show up and do the thing you really need to do. That is the point of failure that you need to avoid. So keep the important things in mind, right? If your goal is to wake up and work and practice this thing and work out and save up X amount of money, that you want to have a goal in 2 months and get to that point, whatever it is, and that's your top priority, you need to just make sure you're going through your day, you're checking the boxes to make that happen. Every little strange interaction or this or that, or this person made you feel that way or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not a real thing. It's not a bottom line event. It's just things flying around in the wind that don't matter, but you get attached to this stuff and you use it to like self-sabotage. It almost becomes a way to get out of doing the hard stuff. You make these elaborate stories of like, well, this person made me feel this way, so maybe I'm really not the badass I thought I was, so why don't I just stay home and do nothing? I think that's happening to a lot of people. As you progress, you identify, you check the boxes each day and you do the activities. This is the way that you're actually going to grow and progress. And this is the way that you actually do become that badass person that you want to become, that you are sort of creating in your mind, right? You're not going to become the badass dude who's like good at jujitsu and has the money and this and that by just like pretending to be that guy. You make the real moves that get you closer and closer to actually becoming that person. If this perfect person or this ideal self-image, it's like simply a fantasy in your head and you're not taking the steps to get there and you're making those steps, you're checking those boxes, if you're not making that like your top priority, then all this image and all this striving for perfection is doing is like just creating more and more opportunities for you to not actually become that person and actually just get further away from that. For your ego to just be shattered, for you to be harmed, for you to just want to sit around and just dwell on things. So I think take yourself seriously, guys, but don't take yourself so seriously that you can be talked out of doing the things you need to do because your ego gets hurt or anything like that, guys. Right now, stop trying to be perfect. Identify simply the boxes each day that need to be checked that are going to get you closer to your goal or your goals, and simply day after day deliver. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Click the link in the bio to follow me on X. If you do like, you do subscribe, you do leave a comment, all that stuff helps the video and the algorithm get pushed out to more people. And if you're trying to help me out, if you found this video helpful, that's the main thing you can do to help me back. We can grow the channel, we can get this message out there to more people, and it'll help me, and then in turn, hopefully it's something positive that'll help the world. So thank you, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.